Very good morning to everyone present here today. I, Aarti Daga, architect and academician and managing committee member of CDCP India, the Confederation of Digital Construction Practitioners, warmly welcome each one of you to the first open mic session as a part of Digital Built India virtual extensions. We have with us on board practicing professionals from the AECO industry. The intent and idea of this open mic session was that industry partakers get a chance to express their thoughts, experiences, and engagements on a platform where they will be heard, understood, and appreciated. The Confederation of Digital Construction Practitioners, CDCP India, who has organized this session, is a national society and is a community focused, vendor neutral, not for profit organization that promotes adoption of technologies and processes. We are also the Building Smart India chapter, which is a national level initiative of CDCP India in collaboration with Building Smart International, which aims at promoting the use of open BIM standards and interoperability across the life cycle of any built environment. We would now like to run a 2-minute video of our society, CDCP India. Thank you. So this was a brief idea about what CDCP India does and what we look forward to with you. We also in the recent past, that is in December 2023, had our first annual event, DBI 2023, that's Digital Built India 2023. Digital Built India 2023 was a vendor neutral event. It gave an opportunity to technology, services, academic, and construction firms to present an open, collaborative, and interoperable perspective on technology, people, processes, and implementation. As an extension of DBI, we now have 3 specific programs, which are DBI virtual extension webinars to present case studies and success stories, DBIx, that is DBI Extension's OpenMIC series to undertake community initiatives at stakeholder level. And we are also launching DBI regional extensions, which will be a small audience regional physical event. So the CDCP India team managing today's event includes Mr. Sunil Joshi, who is Secretary CDCP India and Director and CEO of Digitra Pune. Sunil will be moderating today's session. We also have Mr. Arun Kumar, who is also a managing committee member of CDCP India, who is handling the logistics for the event. Ms. Pradnya Raut, who is part of the community management team, is handling all the back-end work for us today. Together, let's begin the first open mic session as a part of Digital Build India virtual extensions. For today's event, we have some ground rules which we expect you to follow. So please make note. No promotion of any product or services. No negative comments, hate speeches. Do not mention, make remarks you are not sure about. Be precise and short while you're conveying your points. Respect other speakers and participants. I now request Mr. Sunil Joshi to take over. Looking forward to an interactive and enthralling session. Thank you so much. Sunil, you may please take over the session.
Thanks, Aarti. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm volunteering this time, and maybe from the BIM fraternity, we'll have somebody else volunteer for this session next time. So thank you. I think it's a weekend, so we saw some good interest, from the community. I think this event itself is from the session that came over from good friends and colleagues. Who said now we have a platform like CDCP, and then as a community we face different issues. So we were wondering about, how to classify this and how formalize this particular process. So that's where the open mic, series was conceived. And this is the first series. So please feel free. I think it's not a the objective of this session is not to kind of present or give a presentation to anyone. It's about sharing with each other. It's about capturing important inputs. We have a lot of friends who couldn't join, but they have sent their questions to our team. We will be reading out those questions, so everybody is aware of that. From a participation perspective, while this is open for people to come and join this, from a participation perspective, we have restricted the participants in terms of speaking and kind of talking here to respective companies or individuals who are with professionals or representing those organizations. We will have different series coming up for technology, for construction companies. So the objective of this session was, we had different opinions coming up from the industry, different representations coming up from the industry, and the whole idea was to kind of put together a forum where we discuss certain ideas. This is just an initiation. After this, we would be forming up groups to build up on those ideas and discussions, and then take it up to the next level, where if there is anything required to be taken up with policymakers, with specific bodies, we have to do something collectively as an initiative. I think those things can be taken up through these forums. Can we just move to the next slide, Arun? This is participative. This is not a presentation as such. So participation is mandatory, from the people, and we have received interest from prominent people who have kind of expressed their desire to speak on the event. I just want to make sure that they are here, and then I'll probably be naming them based on the input that I have received here. So if they are here, probably we can hear them out and get the questions from them. Within DBI, when we were in DBI, we were talking to policymakers, including people from different government bodies, implementation bodies. We were also talking to kind of in one of the India Infra event 2047. It's like, what India would be probably in terms of achieving our infrastructure goal, where NITI and FCTO were there. in most of these events, we have always come across the fact that about 30% or plus of the content, global digital content comes from, India. We are the contributor to this space. So obviously, that's a huge amount of efforts going in, and it shows probably the kind of skills and the workforce and the business and the talent that exists in India. And the second thing is, can we go to the next slide? The second thing, now that's in terms of the participation that we have on the global side. The second thing is, if you really look at the India part of it, uh, 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 it was mentioned that we have a deficit of about 1 lakh qualified engineers and professionals who can contribute to kind of, fill up the gap that India needs right now on the infrastructure front. So with our goal to achieve, the size of the economy that we kind of aim at, and probably the target of infrastructure, the budget that we have set for ourselves, there's a huge deficit right now with reference to the demand that we are anticipating on the digital side in terms of addressing the infrastructure needs in India. And that's the pivotal intersection points where, most of the services companies, most of the BIM companies today, they are either doing a lot of work internationally, or they are engaged in doing work in India as well. And then they are trying to probably, match up to the needs of these areas. Next slide. So this is exactly with reference to the labor deficit that has been, demonstrated, and this was talked about in terms of how we will fill this, and there was a huge role carved out in terms of, what kind of BIM professionals we will have in the country, including BIM coordinators, the BIM kind of training organizations, the people who could be just qualified as BIM managers, owners, consultants. So different roles have been carved out to make sure that there is a maturity out there where people kind of perceive that, and the industry is able to absorb that effectively. So with this kind of a background, uh, the role of BIM professional, the role of people who are in the BIM industry, who are spearheading probably this initiative in the country, it becomes very important that we do bring that very effectively, and it becomes important that we bring more focus to do things collectively, do better things. And what we have laid right now is probably a series of questions, and then it is open for more questions to come from all of you who are here, in terms of what can be captured. Okay, so I'm now opening up the forum to everyone who's there, and first priorities would be given to the speakers who were there, who have expressed to kind of speak in this event, and probably I will just name them out as I get to see here. The first thing is, this is where sometimes the confusion comes in the marketplace with reference to not having the correct knowledge. Most of the time people go about it, but there is still a flux. And this is the reception, this is the feeling of the market sentiments that we generally speak about, that the criticality of this role of a BIM professional or a BIM consultant. How do we define this criticality? And maybe, Banu, I think I can see you here, Banu Gajela from BIM Graphics. If you're there, probably we can start up with you, maybe to address this. And I'm opening up one by one. So anybody else want to volunteer, please kind of, come over.
Yeah, hi Sunil. Good morning, and good morning to everyone.
Yes, good morning, Banu. Great to hear you.
Good morning.
Yeah, so basically, so the BIM consultant, BIM professional. So the bigger challenge.
See, you have been working. You have been working, you have been working, Banu, kind of, maybe you just for the, we said no promotion, but it is important for the other audience also to know each other. That is very, so Banu, maybe in just one or two line, if you can introduce yourself and then probably, maybe talk about the subject, that will help.
Yeah. So I'm an architect by profession. So I passed out in '94. I've been, you can say, last 29 years. I'm in 30 years now. So I've been into this, and BIM is my additional. You can say my passion, and professionally, most of my time was into the regular practice. So the BIM was used it, but since 2017, I established a specialized BIM service. So anyway, coming back to this, sorry for this. So Sunil, the major issue for us is before even coming to BIM consultant, BIM professional, there is a major challenge about the professional itself by the definition itself.
Mm-hmm.
So architects are trying towards the buildings from the day one when they enter into the campus. So that itself is a challenging one. But when it comes to the engineering side, they have various professions to choose. It's not necessary a building. It's not necessary a built environment also.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the major issue is coming up. Like, BIM has been providing opportunities for engineers and architects, but however, many of them don't even, the biggest challenge what we see is they don't even rightly adopted the core or rightly adopted the core subjects. So then BIM is coming as a layer. It's only coming as a layer for many of the, because it's hot now, or it's providing some good opportunities for engineers where they were paid low before. So that's one of the major hurdle or issue. But once you have that, once what I see is the core subject is predominant, and one need to be a good civil engineer, good mechanical engineer, or good HVC engineer, a good architect. Then the role of BIM consultant, BIM professional comes. So this is what, one of the major thing what I see is lacking at this moment. So people are trying to get hang of the software, and then they call themselves as BIM consultant and professional. So so the
Mr. Bhanu, we've lost your voice. You've gone on mute.
No, I did not mute myself, but I think somebody muted.
Okay, we would also appreciate if if you feel appropriate, you can put on your camera so the people connect better
But
with you. If
let's
okay.
not force that. It's a weekend.
No,
But
I'm
if
not
anybody is
forcing. I'm
comfortable.
totally not forcing. It's your choice, sir. I mean, absolutely. No persons here. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
Okay, so we will have, so Banu, that's what I think one of the discussions also, when we had with reference to how we upgrade even the curriculum. What's happening right now is, there is a finishing courses coming up where people teach about BIM, but then it's not getting deeply enrooted and, engraved into all the engineering subjects as such. Okay, so now this profession, the criticality of a profession, it actually cut across all the disciplines, and that's where we have started seeing. I think there was a good comment yesterday. I don't know if Chirag is here. He had put up saying that we till the time like we are calling ourselves as BIM architect and BIM engineers, this will never get into the mainframe. So first is, while this question was a very important question, I think I also see Ajit Gupta from so Ajit, you want to kind of proxy for Chirag?
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that Chirag had some urgent call and he went there.
Sure.
So he just sent his regards for all the attendees here, and he's looking for some much more events further. So
okay, sure. So I am actually speaking out for him. So he has also expressed saying that this, so even if you look at the standards that we have right now, most of the standards we are talking about digital as a word, and we're talking about the processes as a word. But then for us to also bring the right kind of people together, we had to use the word BIM consultants and BIM service provider, because that is by itself tagged and the industry has adopted in a different way. So that is where it lacks a proper definition. And do you think as a society should we be kind of taking initiative to bring more certainty to this definition? Because there are people who are defining digital standards, but then the industry is following certain things which is not getting very well defined in the roles and responsibilities. Yeah, Rikunj, yes. Rikunj, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Rikunj Muradia and I'm from Ariha Beamworks. We are building automation modeling studio based in Surat, and we do architectural, structural, plumbing, firefighting and HVAC services. So in my background, like I have done my civil engineering and then my construction management. And after working in the field, we have started this studio in 2020. And what, with respect to this discussion which we have right now, I would definitely think it in another sense where when we started BIM services, our first call was how it is going to be helpful during the construction process. So in terms of our design coordination services, or in terms of our drawing deliverables, or in terms of our quantity estimation processes, where they will be, it will be helping, it is going to be helping them for the procurement and purchasing. So now, normally what we have seen that the BIM industry, when it comes into the picture, they wanted to put their standard practice while delivering, while giving the deliverables on site. Whereas what we learned in this years, that we need to identify their requirement in terms of deliverables, and especially in terms of like on some sort of projects where the working drawings quality is different and their requirement is different, and on another projects where their working drawing quality in terms of the detailing is different. So we need to actually modify, or we need to customize our deliverables with respect to the construction process, because my previous background is purely from the project management field. So that is the I would say a pinpoint for BIM industry, that how they can uh, uh, customize their deliverables project
Yeah.
to
So
project with
Rikunj,
respect to the engineering.
yeah, so Rikuj, that comes to the next question that we have, and probably we should move on to the next slide, which actually talks about this. And I've also kind of just launched a poll where I need your inputs in terms of whether we should be taking up initiative to define the various BIM roles as a community, and should we be also looking at defining the scoping part of it, so we exactly know and bring some more certainty onto kind of the areas that we generally operate in. Okay, this is where we collectively as a community will feel, okay, when we say BIM coordinator, from our perspective in Indian terms, when a developer say I want to engage a BIM coordinator vis-a-vis when an architect say I have a BIM coordinator, there could be a difference in roles and expectations, and then getting that clarity to the industry would be probably helpful. And we need kind of this community to probably support in that kind of a thing, because it cannot be anybody's probably a single opinion to that. And there are already available lot of references, but what is relevant to India could be picked up from there. And there are standards available which defines the role, but acclimatizing that and localizing that would be an area where we can discuss. Now this is the second question, what you were just talking about, in terms of the deliverables. Now in India, we have developers, infrastructure companies, and different companies who are deploying BIM. in different types of projects, whether it is airports, whether it is metro, whether it is buildings. And there are different kinds of consultants who are getting engaged. Sometimes some consultants are from different parts of the countries. Sometimes, the consultants or probably professionals are from the in-house team of those. So it doesn't matter who is basically delivering onto that. It could be any part of our community, anybody who is from the community. But how do we ensure that we are able to give a consistency in the digital outcome? And for this, I would like to kind of request Varun, because Varun Sagarkar from DBIx, if you are there, I believe you have an early on experience of certifying yourself for ISO 19650. And with that kind of a thing, do you think that collective adoptions or probably working towards that will bring in more certainty in the outcomes across the projects? Varun, you're there? I think okay, if I
I
think
think
another
he's
speaker,
dropped off. He's not there.
it dropped out. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just looking at the another volunteer speaker, Sandeep Korde. You're there?
Hi Sunil, hi, good morning.
Good morning, Sandeep. How are you? Good to hear you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so Sandeep, okay, I also see Bhanu. So I think great. So Sandeep, I think the question is, how can we ensure a consistency in the digital outcomes of projects like across the country?
Yeah, certainly this is required because when we are working with different clients or let's say different stakeholders, we see that they are using different tools to create BIM content, and we need consistency in that. Basically, now we have Open BIM forum and they are helping up with IFC, and they are evolving IFC in now 4.3. They are there. So in that, what I see. We should have a uh, a platform where we can have this outcome as consistent. So I think IFC is one thing, but then apart from that, we should have a defined, let's say we have LOD forum, we have other standards from ISO 19650. So those should be applied in our Indian context also, and there is need to have a you know same page thing, I will say, uh, a document or something which can help everybody to ensure that we are consistent in producing these digital outcomes.
Okay. So with reference to the standards, like maybe why don't you just put up your experience, like when you work on different kinds of projects, like do you what kind of challenges do you face in putting up these kind of outcomes? Like within an organization, also the outcome varies sometimes. So in your own
Correct.
experience, what challenges do you see in terms of implementing those standards?
Yes, truly within organization also it happens because every person has come from his every BIM person or every BIM knowledgeable person come from his own experiences, because there is no standard education for this. Everybody is learning from web and from their own experiences, and wherever they are participating in the project, they are learning from it. So wherever they are learning, whenever they are learning, so their knowledge comes from that. But then the challenges that we face is generally putting the models together. So one thing is that. Then other important thing is that what is the objective of this BIM modeling or creating this content? So if the objective is not defined, then all the things we are doing, like setting up CDE, setting up BEP, setting up models, everything is not that useful. And
Mhm.
what I see, the outcome should be up to the operation and maintenance, to be in very technical point. So I know we are discussing a general thing, but the main outcome of the BIM should be, now we have digital twin also. So that should be the final outcome that is decided. But what happens, nobody knows what they are doing and why they are doing. So what they are doing, if they know, then how they are doing, that comes as an important thing. So my point is, like, we have this outcome defined at the end, how this BIM model is going to use. Then everybody will be on same page. Everybody will give the content what it is required, and that, it comes like in ISO, it is defined like now EIR or those things. So what is the employer's requirement, so that it can be added into the model at different stages of project execution, and then it will be a smooth working for everybody else. So in my point, like, if it is defined, like objective of this content development, objective of BIM is defined for that particular project, then it is good for everybody to work towards that.
Banu, thanks, Sandeep. I think that sums up very well. Banu, you want to add on to this? I know you
Yeah.
raised your hands.
Yeah, so that's a good question. This is one of the most challenging, I think, more than definition. The consistency is the biggest issue. Definitely in terms of India, when I really see that what's happening and what is our experience with Indian work. See, all that definition of requirements is one aspect. Second one is the consistency. Consistency is what determines everything. It's very, I totally agree with what Varun was saying, but the only thing is the client has a choice, where he wants to stop, where he wants to start. So, I mean, that's basically a process of, implementation and all that will come. But most important is the consistency. Especially in India, this is really lacking. Like, this is my perspective. We work, most of the work is from Middle East, and we do a good amount of work from US. In India, we are unable to secure any project because of this inconsistency. Majority of the times, what we felt and what we saw is the words they used are all foreign words. They pick those things and without understanding. Most of the damage, I think, from if I don't need to say, then I mean, it is from the project management consultants. Most of the BIM consultants are aware. They have been working with globally. But most of the project management consultants, I think I see there is a big gap where they are from the international consultants, but in India the adoption is different because the way it is, the design and the construction in India way totally differs from how it works in most of the advanced Western countries and also in Middle East. So the same things without properly reassigning to Indian context, they are being brought here. So that is what it is bringing a lot of inconsistency. So one of the project, actually, it was you can say 10 times the scope was misunderstood by us. I mean, that's what client tells us. And when I see the specification, it is fantastic one. It is written as good as an international project to be executed. But when we read and when we provide the code, they said, you guys misunderstood the scope for 10 times higher. I mean, they're not only relating to our fee, they were also relating to our scope, what we were assuming to. And it was written well. It was written everything, LODs, all definition, because it's all now everything is available across the globe openly. So ISO 19650, when we are talking about, how can we just go and adopt in India without understanding about other stakeholders? It's not just BIM, right? What about other stakeholders, their inputs, their readiness, and what we were given advised is that's your job. You need to jugaad. Okay, so that's what exactly we were told. So this is where I feel, this is the most important topic. I think when we arrive the consistencies, when we go and let the industry know what is required, I think everything can follow.
I think great thoughts, on the subject. I'll add up to that. But Arun, you have to add something to this. I think you've raised your hand.
Actually, it's not my point, but one of our attendees, Mr. Viraj, he was unable to join at the last minute. So yeah, sent me his query, which is probably related to what Mr. Banu said. And Viraj is actually talking about something related to pricing and payments. I will read out the statement and you guys can take it forward. So Viraj says most BIM service companies struggle a lot when it comes to either pricing, payment terms, or payment schedules. This is largely because there is a difficulty in verifying, certifying work done by client end. This leads to a lot of business challenges, and I have even seen jobs being impacted due to the same. Would love to hear thoughts and ideas around this, as it's one of the biggest impediments to growth of India as a BIM capital. Further, he continues, a cascading impact of this is that many companies undercut their prices for newer jobs to ensure their teams are busy and cover previous losses, which leads to reduced quality of deliverables, and in the process, both clients and service provider lose out. So that's from Viraj. You can take it forward.
No, I think probably just taking that from Viraj and also what Banu said. Now at a community level, when we are talking about, bringing our common interest forward, when we look back, like Council of Architecture, they had at some point of time defined, various stages of design and including payment terms and payment stages. Now, not that everyone follows that, but at least there is some definition available as a guideline. In fact, at some point of time, this is from an industry perspective, there was a kind of a bit of a, I would say, uh, uh, challenges that people were facing in the industry, which is very much driven by rate per square feet. Specifically with reference to the real estate industry, and commoditization of the design and engineering practice happened here when you wanted to fit all your scope into the given budget, and you wanted to do that because essentially community was not coming forward and talking about what is the bare minimum time and essentially the efforts or probably a legitimate fee required to deliver the right kind of digital outcomes. Now, so standards definitely will govern the project matters, and will be driven from a perspective of going forward and adopting something which is more effective from India perspective. And we will have two kind of sprouting sessions from this discussion, this question. One is, we are also having some discussions on the standards front, where there are thoughts in recent event that we attended in January, where there is one school of thoughts probably which is driving the whole efforts and initiative to adopt the international standards and build up the India annex around that, which means that we should look at ISO 19650, which is available, and then work collectively with different stakeholders to build up the India annex on that front. And then the second one is specifically looking at building something which is an indigenous independent standard. Now, there are merits and demerits, pros and cons in both of the areas. But with this, there cannot be a more qualified team than the people who have experience of executing this to come on that. I also invite a lot of people who are interested to be a part of those forums and discussions, and want to represent the community, because see, we started CDCP, but today it's something which people are embracing, and more of the community members are coming and taking it forward. So we have a request right now that anybody who is interested to participate in the standards committee, in the committee or in the team that is going to deal with different bodies and policymakers on the standards part of it. If you are interested, or if you want to nominate your organizations or somebody, please do that. So can I just have like maybe a quick poll, Arun, to kind of take that request if possible right now, so that we can follow up, or maybe send a mail after this, to do that. So that was the first part of it. And second was, one is, in terms of the specifications and, the guidelines which are available. And second is the scoping part of it. What scoping and what kind of, what Viraj was saying in terms of the challenges with reference to getting paid on time or somebody endorsing it on time. Maybe, there is no guideline as such that is available to do that. So that's again another area. Any volunteers who want to participate in these two independent initiatives, please nominate yourself, and we will be happy to kind of consider that as a follow through event. Yeah. So Arun has also launched this poll. If you want to participate, you can please say yes and nominate your organizational representative later on. That's also perfectly fine. Okay. I see some comments from Swaraj Dada. Dada, would you like to just kind of talk about that? Maybe that will be better.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
In fact, just Banu's point, it triggered me this question, because we have been seeing of late the BIM integrator is one of the new community, new breed of people have to be really coming up for BIM enabled projects. And I think even I was also thinking when I was working on this Nagpur Metro project, so there should be a consultant who understands this digital content of it, or digital digitalization, or the process of it. That sort of people should be coming up now. I think this is the new breed has to be coming up. This is the thought process I have. I don't know whether everybody agrees, or is it possible to bring out those sort of new breed of community, or new breed of companies or organizations as a part of this digital journey. Instead of project, or apart from the project management team, there should be a digital management team who understands all these things and really can collate and make the things easier for all the operators.
Yes, I think that's probably what even the thoughts are kind of coming. So we will have to take it up from there, and have a parallel initiative to cover up, and also take up the initiative on the scoping part of it. Okay. Quickly moving on to the third part. This again is we covered up and we discussed about this a bit. What are the critical market related challenges, like if you really look at uh, the customers, sometimes projects have mandate, but then people really don't know how to receive the deliverables from that mandate. So maybe I would like to hear from the real practicing consultants, what kind of challenges you face from the market, like while dealing with, whether it is a infra client, whether it is a EPC client that you're working with, whether you're working with maybe a developer. Anyone would like to volunteer for that question? Rikunj, I see your hands up. I need one more volunteer if somebody has not spoken so far. Okay, Banu, I think I see Saluja here. Nitesh Saluja. Yes.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good
My
morning.
name is Nitesh. I'm from KPMG India. I've been into this BIM and Revit stuff from last 9 to 10 years, since my college days. So I have been working on with various clients during this tenure, which is all over the parts of the world. Uh, uh, if I talk about if we talk about early adopters of BIM, who are Scandinavians basically, so they are into they are into much advanced stage than us in India, due to their early adoption, and which makes them extract out most of it. If we talk about what our BIM model generally provide. So at that time, those the if we talk about Scandinavians, they extract out most of the information from their model, and they try to have every data in the digital mode. In similar lines, we do take up this thing in India, as Mr. Sandeep and Bhanuji told earlier. Like they have different aspects in Indian market. If we talk about project managers, and like if they want to come around, like they want to adopt them in their project. So at that time they talk about, okay, we want this, we want this, we want this, but they were unable to provide those kinds of input to us. And similarly, as earlier Mr. Sandeep also told about scope and de-scoping. So what generally happens is like they always say, okay, we if they generally don't have the clear picture of the scope at the initial stage. If they do, we can prepare our models, we can prepare our like BIM platform in the same way. But they generally take up, okay, this seems this seems very costly, this seems less costly. So I'll gonna go ahead with this one. So that clearly we are not able to properly define what actually they want and what maximum output they can get. So if I talk about standardization, so if we will be having this kind of, if we will be having any standard available, okay, these are the BIM standards, like for LOD 200, we'll be providing these details and they can be used for these things. Similarly for LOD 300, 400, 500. So at that time, it's going to make up a lot more easier for the project managers. They will be having those budgeting things in their view queue beforehand. So it won't be seen as a like added cost to them. So that's really important, actually.
Uh, I think that's a very well placed point. Nitesh, just in your experience of maybe dealing with different kinds of clients, how have you seen the changes in the maturity level of expectations? Like probably when you're dealing with a maybe a government client vis-a-vis a private client, like how and then within the client also you have like sometimes stakeholders, right? Sometimes you deal with stakeholders who are from the business background, vis-a-vis sometimes you have so what has been your challenge probably from facing the market with different diversity?
See, that's a very good question actually. If I talk about openly about the government clients, so what generally happens is like they want to adopt that particular thing, but down the line their contractors or because see, for example, what is BIM? BIM is actually providing your digital model, right from the conceptual stage till the like operation and maintenance stage. Okay, and in between there's a lot of like construction activity which need to be take care of because as per those construction activity only we will be able to take care of the operation and maintenance. So down the line they need to because right now what they are doing only for compliance part on major projects. But it is very well required. They have to like as they have religiously follow a drawing system. Like they want to have like this drawing need to be followed as per this. Like if it is mentioned like duct need to be goes on this level in the drawing, so it should be go on that. So they can't be any kind of differentiation between the two. So this thing is required for the BIM standards as well from government clients. But as you have mentioned, like definitely in these 7 to 8 years, I have seen a tremendous growth in the government. I have seen a tremendous growth in the interest of the government towards BIM. Like
Great.
they are starting including in all their proposals now. In every airport or like if we talk about railway stations, they started having that over there.
Yeah, so I think thanks for placing that just to make sure that we're able to cover up all the points and we also want to open up. So in case any of the while we are going through the event and covering up different topics that we have kind of kept for kind of our discussions, if anyone has any questions that comes to your mind that needs a discussions and deliberation here, I request you to please put that on the chat box. And request Arun to make sure that we are probably picking it up and discussing that as well while we go with the flow of the event. Okay, anyone has any questions, please put up your questions on the chat box so that we make sure that we're not missing anything while we're going this. Banu, I saw your hands up. Another question which is very, I think you're one of the most, in the current thing, I think we don't have Bimal here right now, and some of the firms who are very old or probably, from a consulting perspective. Banu, I think maybe I'm just moving a bit of the, kind of a pivot probably to the question, this one where, I feel that we would like to hear from you. Like, one is the market challenges, but, as a business, when you run, you have capacities, you have people, you have attrition, you have cost, you have back-end costs of technologies. So there are different things that we have as a business, and at the same time we had the market side of it, which Nitesh kind of just addressed. So Banu, would you like to add your kind of thoughts into probably, what are the critical business challenges we as a community should come together and face?
Yeah, one of the major one what you mentioned is an attrition. That's what the major issue what's happening to us now. I mean, at least from our perspective, I think it's happening to everyone. I mean, that's one way it is good. It's an employee market now. They are able to switch on and then go to, I mean, they're able to see that there is a bright career in BIM and they're able to move into various places. So again, it's also connects with a lot of people who mentioned it. And also my first point, which I was saying about the core subject and the BIM. So the attrition is the major issue. Like, people are being taken away. The employees are looking into that larger, terms of career driven, and they are moving too fast. I think this young generation in every field, it's the same problem. There is no real attachment to the company, or more than that, it's about career and this and the prospects of it. So, but biggest challenge what's happening is the engineers and architects who are coming from their core plus BIM, the way it is adoption is, the way their learning is, the way it is. I think the standardization, many of other things, at least that younger generation with certain level of knowledge, they can come and join, then it becomes much more easy. That's one aspect. And second one, which is again mentioned by someone, and see, when the specs are not written well, I mean, I'm happy to see Nitesh from KPMG into the group. So when it is loosely written spec and then it is being evaluated by somebody very strictly, and what you agree on paper without paper is what it is really bringing a lot of problems. See, because your scope written well, and when you are in the negotiations, it is loosened up and it was given it to you, but without any commitment. But then one smart guy comes in and then he picks the paper and then he can completely butcher the entire process. So this is where the real issue is. Can we, I mean, then when the scope is can be really written well in terms of, then assessment can be done well, and you borrow all kinds of international words and then you try to refine this. This is one of the major challenge in terms of the payments and money. So you have the client and client representative holds everything to hold. But that negotiations time, that is a
is it
different way.
also like if you look at, like, picking up from your point, if you look at generally the whole of the the community, the industry that we have, most of the people in the BIM business, except for maybe some large firms who are getting into the business, but then still the component of the business is still small. These SMEs, the legal, some firms, or obviously all of these firms don't have a dedicated legal department, probably with a lawyer engaged internally, and most of the decisions are taken by entrepreneurs or probably the managerial level guys in terms of working. And do you think that that's one area where probably the community, specifically this community of BIM professionals, uh, need some kind of support to combine their problems together and have some central place to probably have that legal support coming into them? I just want to kind of hear you, Banu, on this. You feel that because you see from your business, but then also you look at probably a lot of similar businesses in India, and all of them cannot really have that strong bandwidth. And sometimes we also have the supply chain ecosystems and the client ecosystem. Both could be very big companies.
So that is one thing which is actually for a matured and larger companies, definitely this is the problem. But what I see is there is another huge issue with the industry where a lot of aspirants are coming and getting into this. For example, this is legal issue is that when there is a matured process is there, like you have a mature requirements and you are also signed for that and you're delivering for that, and then there is an ambiguity and then the legal issue comes. Here the straightforward, the major challenge what I saw is the competitors who are really wanted to just pick, somebody already brought that point and the scope is written well, and then the negotiations time there are unofficial discussions happen in terms of making it easy, and they come into the project with a very low fee, and they don't deliver it. In fact, they failed actually. They failed to deliver on the across the paper. So these are like overall, industry is impacting. Overall, matured companies are impacting with mushrooming small time workforce. So both are there. And legality wise, who is going to analyze, first of all, legalities wise, what is that their understanding of scope and delivery? So more of an arbitration is one of the right way. Again, that digital perspective, I think largely there is a lot of misconceptions in the industry. Many of us are coming from serving international background and trying to serve to India. So if there is a success, there is a success. If there is a failure, it's a BIM failure or the issue failure. So I think there are many issues are running around like that. I think it requires a and also what I would also, I mean, I would like to end. I think Sandeep would like to add. So one of the major issue is that where is Indian Institute of Architects here role here, and where is the role of Council of Architecture? Where is the role of Indian Institute of Engineers? But this is not the way UK BIM mandate is done. This is not the way even Singapore BIM adoption is done. And the way it is, like, I'm from Dubai. I'm now right now calling from Dubai. I mean, so the way it is adopted in UAE market. So it's not the way India is there. India is full of like, we have abundant of resources, phenomenally serving. So we are using that as a basis and moving into the industry. But what about the total stakeholder connectivity? I mean, CDCP is going to enter into that. I think then we start getting answers. It's going to be a long way, but we can at least go into right direction.
I think point taken. Sandeep, would you like to just contribute here?
Yeah, thank you, Banu. What I am targeting here is the resource requirements. Okay, resources. So what we see that when kind of working with Indian consultants, Indian BIM consultants, the workforce come from from the beginner point, like they pass out college and go to trainings, and then they come. And then they work for 1 or 2 years in that organization, and they are getting picked by some international companies who has their own global delivery centers over here. So always what happens that the team that is working in Indian consultants or with Indian consultant is the only that 1, 2, 3 year experienced people. And that is why the quality of the work that is getting delivered is, you can imagine that how it is. So
Good.
when
Sandeep,
we
you're
are
reading our mind. You're reading our mind. See, we just changed. I changed the slide, and
yeah.
and we in most of the. So this is a very unique challenge for India. And specifically, it is
So
not just, it is applicable to be consultant right now. But yeah, you please complete. I'll talk about
yeah.
it later.
So what I want, no, okay, that is that they work for, let's say, first couple of years of career with Indian consultants. But then what I want that the trainings that they are getting, the education that they are getting from colleges and universities and from the BIM training course, or there should be a need of working together with the BIM and academics to be together, not a separate course. Again, when they are working or learning from the BIM course, so that should be a good content delivering course where it will not tell them that how to use some commands, but how the practicality of that particular project, how it is getting constructed, and what will be the complications, or that sense they should have developed, or that sense should be imparted from the training institute into the mind of those BIM professionals, so that when they join that career, first phase of career, we can say first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they will be able to deliver good delivery, like projects. That is what I was point making.
Yeah, I think very well taken. And this is also now, like Bhanu said, we are in a very, it's good for some people. It's a democratization of the industry, I would say, where today, there is no barriers to start a company. There is no barrier to start working for something. There is no barrier for somebody to say that I want to be an entrepreneur and I will work for something. Now, because of that, Of course, there is a value when a right size organization goes and pick up the work. But then in the same community of India, we have small firm, mid firm, large firm. Mid firms and large firms have their overheads. They maintain certain, kind of business critical things that is required, which is good for certain kinds of projects. People who are looking for short term, immediate needs, they have, immediate solutions that are available, but that is all in the same market. Plus, like you said about, attrition going up, maybe we are hiring, most of the hiring is happening and preparation is happening with BIM training and BIM, professional companies. But at the same time, the pay scales could be better with the people who have a better pay rate. So we are actually operating within the same economy, and it's same India, but then probably operating in different economies. Now the question here is, how do we make sure that the projects in India, when we do the projects in India, probably it has different challenges, it has different scale, as well as when we do international projects, there's still wage arbitrage, which is diminishing over a period of time. But how do you capitalize on this? Because when we look at the government's vision of becoming a $5 trillion economy, it is not just about saying that, okay, I want to dump international work and do only India, because it is about now, how can I double up my international work as well? How can we participate? We have certain relationships right now, and we are also starting up forums to promote India in Europe and other parts, in terms of going and promoting consultants, not just going as a service provider, but consulting there, taking up the key stakeholders, as a part of the community-led initiatives. Now, when you look at the objective of the government in terms of looking at the economy, we have to also improve the export business, and all this component of the industry, whether it is the captives of large companies which are there in India, or a lot of international business that we have through our engineering services and BIM services companies, that is important. At the same time, we have a huge deficit of the BIM requirement that we need in India. So the best solution is that we should be able to meet the demand for both, because swapping the demand from one side to the another is not a right solution. But I just want to open up the forum again on this question, that when do you see, how can we probably change this stance from swapping in terms of the demand and addressing different demands, to probably be in a situation to be able to address both demands and contribute significantly towards the economy. Yes, Nitesh.
Yeah, hi. See, on this particular point, I would like to say, like, see what's happening. Like, as we are mentioning, like, in global projects, it is like we are seeing a lot more success, and in Indian market, we can't see that much success. See, one point is rate. Okay, but why rate is so low is like because like in our BIM standards also, it's not only like the project manager's fault, it's like our faults as well if we are a service provider. Because as like someone told in the in this forum only, like they hire like 1 to 3 years beginners, 1 to 3 years beginner guy. So, and in MNC, they like after 3 years of experience, they go to some MNC and they do the foreign projects. So in that case, what's happening? Like when that MNC is hiring, so at that time they are doing a kind of like projects with them. They are properly like while interviewing them, they are properly doing up like proper test. As like if you guys have heard about Autodesk user certified, Autodesk professional certified. So if those kinds of tests starts happening in India while giving jobs to the guys, like either they do it at your at their own cost, or like if they have like, because Autodesk user certification is like a global recognized certification for like all the Autodesk products. And similarly for Bentley and Oracle, like those kind of certifications are available. So if we hire those kinds of guys, our like our productivity and efficiency will definitely increase. It's our fault, like we hire directly, because see, everyone knows in our industry, in civil engineering, there is not much high pay scale. But if we talk about digital, like going into the BIM sector, it's a bit more relaxing as compared to the typical civil construction line. So on that point, if we start hiring the guys who are professional enough, instead of only knowing only 3D modeling works. So we will definitely be getting most out of it for the Indian projects as well as for the global projects. So this thing we need to, it's not only like student for, it's like it starts from early adoption. Like now everyone have known in CBSE as well, they have implemented NEP, new education program. So over there, like they starting teaching students like about coding and all those digital stuff since sixth grade, I guess. So similarly, if in our colleges, like instead of taking these digital initiative on a for granted, only for doing for the sake of like okay, we will be having 4 hours training in a whole semester or 6 hours training in a whole semester. So instead of properly introducing instead of these part-time introducing of these digital, and if we have that full-time digital course initiative in their end, so that will definitely gonna help us getting a good point out of it.
Okay, great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Nitish. And we have just one suggestion from Ravi here that he said we should have like best practices and successful implementation. So that is being conducted through our DBI webinar series that we have. Last time we had with NCRTC. Next we have AFCONs speaking, which I think Aarti will update. So we have that series also coming up. On this BIM initiative right now, the open mic that we have with the BIM community, we have also certain training programs that we are initiating as Building Smart India, where it's a business opportunity for a lot of BIM service providers and training organizations, where you can actually become a partner, and we are going to be rolling it out through NGO. So that way, it's a not-for-profit initiative, but you can actually take that initiative to, roll out a lot of certification programs if you want to add that as a part of your business. Because in most of the discussions that we are also having with policymakers, the biggest concern is about capacity building. And people are now trying to think innovatively and differently. How do we, you know, uh, how do we kind of really go about building up the capacity in the industry to do the digital delivery of our projects? Think over it. We will be, probably we'll put up a survey to all the team members, probably a lot of people who couldn't participate also, to kind of get your ideas on capacity buildings and kind of take it further. If you have any inputs or suggestions, last one specifically in the way the policy makers can help. Now, sometimes if you see Singapore, Singapore government started with some kind of an initiative to the people, because when you say, when you take from an implementation perspective, doing any digital part of it has two components. One is the environment where you are consuming the content. And then the first part is where you are generating, managing, building the content. And that is where more of the efforts goes in. Most of the industry stakeholder has to spend more time, more energy, more resources in, buying softwares, hardware, and there is a lot of cost and other stuff that goes there. Now, we want to also look at a community level. Do we, can we come up with innovative ideas and suggestion where not just for the BIM community, but overall for all this community who is actually going to be on the heavier side, heavy lifting side of digitalization. When we say BIM, creating that content is a heavy lifting side. Once it is done, analysis is basically where you are reaping the benefit. Now, that heavy lifting effort, whether an architect is doing it and migrating to a BIM based platform, whether an engineer is doing it, whether BIM manager and project managers are doing it. Now, that is something which we have to identify. But if you guys have any suggestion about initiatives that can be taken on this front, please, please come back. If anybody wants to add, just give me a moment. Sorry about that. If anybody wants to add anything quickly on this, you are most welcome. Yeah, Ajit Gupta from Studio 4. Yeah, you have anything to add on this? Ajit?
just like we are facing some challenges in terms of standardization. Things are not standardized, and everyone is approaching some minutely different approaches. Even I have heard and I've seen the client also are confused. They are having, I mean, a lot of development scope are there. People are aware that yeah, BIM is working and we should adopt this because their peers are adopting and they are reaping the benefits. But when we approach them and we see that they are very much confused that which approach should they adopt and which approach they should not. Sometimes they are
Mhm.
worried that will it be successful or not. And in terms of scoping and work things, they are already confused. And at later stage, due to their standard contractual policies, they choose the lowest one or something like this. And the taste of BIM, they waste there and they feel that okay, BIM is something not workful for us, or it is good for abroad project but not working for this our type of industry. This is what mindset they prepare. Even I have seen some leading developers or some infra owners, projects owners, they're having this mindset. So we should initiate something commonly so that approach should be decided that at which stage the client is and which type of approach is going to help them. This is a challenge which I feel we have seen in the industry.
Good. I think it's aligning with it's resonating with the thoughts that we already talk about, in terms of bringing the consistent digital outcome and maybe getting onto some kind of a scoping systems or guidelines in terms of, how things can be taken up. So we kind of create a group probably, or a group of, kind of the representative from here to kind of follow through on these initiatives and take it further. And on the policy side also, it's not impromptu, but after this session also, if anything, any thoughts come to your mind, because this is where we don't want to miss out on any good thoughts, when we are taking it further and, trying to drive it. Yeah, Sandeep, you want to add anything?
Yeah, in the challenges part, when there is some issues are occurring, like, legal and things. So I think if we know the legal parts, that what government, the security that what government has already provided to business owners in digital, we can say NASCOM is there, and then MSME is there. So if we register ourselves in that platforms, and we can get help or get understanding of those laws, rules, regulations, which help the interest of the consultants, that will be good.
Excellent. I think that's a good point. Sometimes it's also about lack of awareness, and maybe we can do one of the sessions in future where we can invite people who can probably talk about MSME benefits to SMEs and related kind of community members. Yeah, Banu, you want to kind of add up anything?
Yeah, in terms of CDCP, is it anything recognized a government body, or are you in that process? So the biggest challenge is that, what is the legitimacy towards this entire process, policy making? So how do we go generally go? Yeah.
Yeah, so we are so if we are working, we will be working closely with policymakers, but we will remain as a neutral NGO, where we will not we will be a not for profit non-government organization, where we will be working closely with the policymaker, because that's what government wants. Government wants somebody to probably represent the community, bring the community together, and also advise them with the right kind of things.
Yeah. Any any such, I mean, like, did you guys talk with the professional bodies like Institute of Architects and Institute of Practicing Civil Engineers, or ISHRE or something? Is there, what is that synergy from them to BIM? See, because the biggest problem is most of the world abroad, actually, the initiation came from the government, and then adoption was from these respective professional bodies. It was BIM committee was formed by the professional bodies. In India, we most of the times we are, I think we are going reverse. We are going with BIM to the professionals, because many questions can be answered if the professionals embrace this.
Yeah, so I think Banu, yeah, I think I have PS and Swaraj who probably can address more, because we started as a confederation, and what we want to do is we want to be a weaving body that will bring in. So our next sessions are going to be with architects, with project managers, with different community members and their associations as well. Swaraj, you want to kind of add up on that, and then maybe PRS also I see here with your raised
It
hands.
is actually the questions which has been raised by Sandeep and Vanu, I'm a little bit instigated to come up and raise the hand. See, the thing is that as NASCOM was for this IT industry, and we considered that there's only CDCP India who has been brought up by all the professionals engaged in the digital transformation, digital construction in all the fields. We have brought up this for all of you to be collate with, and so that we can be a face of everybody, whether it everybody in the AECO community, whether it is architects, whether it is engineers, or even the contractors, everybody. And that is why you might have seen in our presentation that there are 6 areas we are working with professionals, with policymakers, with contractors, with the corporates. So there are various initiatives are there, and whatever is there, please join us as members, as well as probably the active participants in the various forums, various way you can help, so that it is your area, it is your forum for us to speak for you only. And you must consider the CDCP is the only organization who can really speak about this entire community on your behalf and for you.
Yeah, thank you. And then Mr. P.R. Surendra Babu, if you're there.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm the president of CDCP India. Maybe it is required. That is why I thought I should tell.
So both Mr. Swaraj and P.R. Surendra Babu are, Swaraj is our president, and Mr. Surendra Babu is the chairman of BSI India as well as our board member. Yes, PRS, you're there.
Yeah. Audible?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, I had one different perspective, especially taking on from what Banu said and Ripunj also was telling about the various pain points. So when you're talking about policy matters and forming up the policies, it's not enough just if you involve the service providers alone. I know this forum is about service providers, because for many of the service providers are probably working for EPC contractors, and it doesn't end with EPC. The EPC contractor also has got a client. Okay, and that person is the ultimate client, and there are consultants in between. So whatever we do, we should involve everybody, bring them on the same table, and be clear about what the ultimate client wants and what the EPC contractor has to deliver and what the service provider will follow on with that. I think that will be the actual solution, because as a service provider, as a forum, if you follow your own, try to bring up standardization and so on, it needn't necessarily cater towards the requirement of the EPC contractor or the requirement of the ultimate client. So all 3 of them have to be in place.
Great. Thank you, PRS. I just see one last hand, Mr. Kosal Raman, and after that we are closing on the questions and then handing over to Aarti. Yes, Mr. Raman, Kosal Raman, if you can just,
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm architect Kosal Raman here from Chennai. I did come and meet you guys previously. I think very good deliberations happening here in this call today. A couple of things I just want to share. See, I had worked in the US for about 12 years. I also practice now in India. See, one of the main things difference is, the legal system, it's totally different when you compare to US or UK or in India. So in terms of BIM, there are the requirement, though architects as myself, we work on BIM, we do Revit and all those things. But when it comes to other professionals or engineers, so the entire industry is not connected together through BIM. So it's a humongous task for us to even though we prepare drawings in Revit, we convert that to AutoCAD and hand it over to all our engineers to work on, coordinate. So the biggest task is that. The second one is the salary disparity. Nobody, there's a huge difference between people working on export of services or US projects or UK projects, whereas the billing rates are much different than the local salary requirements here in India. And of course, at the end of the day, in terms of building bylaws is completely different. As I said, the legal system in US, when I did projects in the US, it's a very, very, stringent requirement for building approval and stuff like that. Whereas in India, it's completely different. So that's where, we as a community will have to force from the policymakers, making sure that, a BIM should be used. Each state, for example, Maharashtra uses a different online submission system. Tamil Nadu uses a different submission system. So we ourselves are not connected together, so that has to be connected at the policy level so that, everybody makes approval in the same way, same format, and, they can submit it in the right way so that all of us can get connected. And in fact, last month or before December, I think I had a connection with, we had presented together along with IA, I represent Indian Institute of Architects Chennai Center. I'm the vice chairman, and along with ISHRE, along with the Plumbing Association, we all gathered together at L&T office, and we had a whole day of deliberations on how we can come together as an industry, construction industry, and BIM could be a good platform to connect, and which you also spoke on that. So
Lovely.
Salary disparity is there. That's why somebody here has mentioned they work for 2-3 years from college, then they jump to a MNC or a global delivery center here, and of course the pay scale is like 3 times. Somebody today, when they enter from college or they get paid, it's about 18,000. When they go to a global delivery center, it's about 50-60,000. So there's a huge difference. Obviously, they jump, and there's not enough engineers to do local projects. And
Yep.
and keep in mind, I just want to share one information. Only about 3 to 5% of the entire projects in India is done by architects. Okay, the rest of them are like non-architects or licensed surveyors or not even qualified engineers. Sorry to say that, not even qualified engineers, and they are trying to find only architects have this council of architecture. And engineers, they're yet to find a body. They have to do a body, which will be great if they can. Engineers can come together and do an own, like a council of engineers or something like that, where they are licensed and they are also held responsible. And which is true, they have to, be that actually. So that has not happened actually. So if that happens, then
Mr.
we can all.
Raman, I think you are setting up a very good tone for the next open mic with architects. So I think Swaraj will be. I think he's already talking to you, and
Yes,
probably
yes.
very soon we will have that. So I think we will take up a lot of these matters specifically now. I think I also got input from Banu related to the design community professionals to be onboarded. I think so. We'll take that up.
Thank you, Arun. Thanks, Sunil. I think our first open mic session was a great success and has gone well and aligned closely what our intent was. It's also given us a direction on which ways we can carry forward or take forward our further open mic sessions. Thank you to everyone who has contributed here. Not only your thoughts, but also your expectations from us as an organization. On your screen, you also see this one which talks about if we'd really want more members contributing. This is a voluntary service and a give back way to the community. So I really request all of you present here to enroll yourself and become members of Building Smart India and CDCP India. And we have our next session coming up on 16th March 2024. That's a Saturday at 10 o'clock. And in conversation with AFCONS. AFCONS is a big company, needs no introduction. So we will keep you posted about the event and closer to the date. And we request all the attendees to be part of our next event and keep making our event successful in the future. Thank you so much. Thank you, CDCP team. Thank you, everyone present in the session. Thank you so much. Looking forward for more affiliations. Thank you.